for whatever reason. Like I don't ever hit these vape pens, but it helps with live streams. It gets me talking. It's pretty fun.
Nice, nice.
Yeah,
I know I
my,
had my coffee. Had my coffee before we get started. I'm like, well, got to make
yeah,
sure I
you
have
need
that.
something.
Yeah, I need something.
Yeah. All right, it started. Hello, thank you for coming to the first ever peycast. I'm really excited to do this with you guys all today. I'm here with my first ever guest, Kaizen Crypto. This is going to be more of a viewable experience for when you're not watching it live. That's my intention with these. But just remember, we're going to get better with every iteration of these podcasts. It is my first time ever doing this style of video. So we did run into some technical difficulties. That's why we were running late. Um, well, we got it all worked out now. There is a new link for all this. So let me make sure everything's working. Type hi in the chat if you guys are here. But Kaizen Crypto, how are you doing today, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Glad to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here too. If you guys want to check his channel out, it's Kaizen Crypto if you haven't heard of it. He's also got a stake pool on the ITN. What's the stake pool? Is it Kaizen Crypto?
Stake. Yep. So Kaizen Crypto, the ticker is KAIZN.
Cool. Anything else you want to advertise?
No, just really excited to be here, man. This should be a fun chat. I know lots of people interested with all the things happening with Shelly. We got the virtual summit coming up.
Yeah,
So
I'm really excited for that.
lots to talk about. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So how are you guys all doing today? I know there's a few seconds behind, but I see people starting to pile in. I appreciate you guys all coming by today. But I also wanted to give a shout out to the Duck Pool. He's helped me out a lot with my questions on my own stake pool, and he's also helped Kaizen out a lot too. So you guys can check out his pool on the ITN as well. I'm sure he's going to have a pool on the main net. The ticker for that is just Duck. It's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an awesome guy. He's helped both of us out tremendously. Couldn't thank him enough.
Yeah. So the first thing I wanted to ask you about, man, is I went back and watched some of your early videos, and I've noticed that you had the Kaizen branding and then like kind of the samurai design from the beginning, man. So what made you decide to go with that branding initially?
Yeah, that's a great question. But when I first started out with crypto, it was like, I want to get into this space, and I really want to make sure that I can have a brand that can really stick out. With Cardano, so they had their ICO in Japan. I was like, it's probably going to be pretty relevant to pick something that's Japanese. I really like the Japanese culture. I feel like, lots of cool things with the Japanese culture. Kaizen actually means continuous improvement.
Really?
So
I was gonna ask you about that.
yeah. So when I found out the meaning, I was like, oh, this is perfect. Because it's like, as far as being involved in the space, there's always new stuff. We're always learning. There's always room for improvement and room for growth. So I feel like Kaizen was the name for me. And then, just choosing the logo, really just had a lot of fun with that. Just whatever I could think of.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I like it. You definitely do have distinct branding. A couple people in the chat saying mic check to Big Pay. Let me go ahead and fix that real quick. I told you guys this Logitech capture software is giving me a lot of trouble, but I thought I had it fixed at this point. So let me go ahead and edit that.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody in the chat. We really appreciate all the feedback that we get, from everybody who's watching our videos, commenting, liking. Just really big thank you to everyone. It's always great to be able to have a supportive community.
Yeah, for sure. How does my mic sound now, guys? Is it a little better? I think I might have fixed it. I know it'll take you guys a little second to catch up, but I want to make sure my audio is good for this first one. One thing I did forget to mention, we're going to be checking the chat pretty often, but I want this to be more of a conversation style podcast. Kaizen's never done anything like long conversation style, so I want to spend a lot of this time to get to know him, also to get to know why he came into cryptocurrency and why he does the things that he does. As far as for conversation things, if you guys want to change the conversation and direction, we will. If we miss your comments, we will be checking every super chat in between conversations, and we'll be checking those in case there's anything great, like a great direction to go to during the conversation. So I did want to mention that. I think and then also at the end of the video, or at the end of the live stream, we're going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to answer all of your guys' questions and comments. So a little bit of an AMA from both of us near the end of the video. Much better now. A little low. Okay, I can fix the lowness. Cool. I think we might have got the Logi capture software finished. So let's just start off right off the bat. So first off, I saw you voted yes on the ITN. I personally wanted it to continue longer, at least for a month, and then give time for people in the community to come up for something good for the ITN to be used for. Because I think the Rust code was pretty good when it was all said and done, and I didn't want it to get wasted. So what is your opinion on that? Do you have any ideas for what the ITN could be in the future?
Well, I mean, as we're seeing right now, voting definitely. I think it's gonna, especially with smart contracts. When we see those, I think having two chains that can run parallel to each other. My biggest concern, like starting with that first, would be that the value proposition behind the main chain, like making sure that there's no value that's taken away from the main Cardano platform.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be the main concern for me. But if looking at it from a positive note, as far as being able to prototype, rapid develop, and launch it onto the mainnet while being able to like clear out any bugs and do all that on a separate chain, I think it's really gonna we're gonna see some nice development happening because we have that asset. So yeah, as far as the work that's been done, the Rust team, the Jormungandr node is, it's gonna be something that we're going to build on in the future. So if we're able to continue that and there is a unanimous vote for yes, continue, it's going to be interesting to see. It's still early days, but hopefully we're able to see it really help with innovation for the main chain.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely, man. I think what's so cool about having a side chain, and it's all built in Rust, and from what people who program in Rust have told me, you can prototype things and do things much faster in Rust than you can in Haskell. And that could be really useful for us because Haskell is it takes a lot more time to do things in, and that's kind of why they chose this process in the first place. So for things like Goguen and Voltaire, we could put that out on there first, see what issues we run into in the network, and then have those prepared for mainnet. That doesn't mean it needs to be listed or anything else, but I'm willing to keep my stake pool up. And that's another thing I did want to bring up today is there wasn't, I think I read somewhere that it was 3% total of people in the ITN voted. I'm not sure if that's really, that seems like a very low number to me. And I think it has to do with the miscommunication. So what did you think about that?
Yeah, that's not going to represent a fair majority. As far as me personally, I've been having some issues with it because of all the forks and whatnot. And then we were talking earlier before we started as far as what I'm experiencing right now with my internet service provider. So lots of things going on. I mean, it is kind of like a test bed, but and then couple that also with the short notice of the rewards running out. I think Charles was saying that he anticipated it to run out on the 29th.
Yeah, and then the voting
out on the 19th. So, it's really just a matter of everybody being able to operate on their toes, being able to be quick and agile and make decisions and stuff like this. What we're doing right now, just talking about it, engaging with the community. I think we're going to have a better idea of what's going to look like when Shelly's launched.
Yeah, and this might already exist, and this is my idea, is I think what happened was, and Charles mentioned this in his voting video, that there was a miscommunication. Not everyone was really sure what was going on, and a lot of people were kind of sketch about using that link that was posted on the Cardano Effect. And then when he posted that, he even mentioned, hey, I'm not sure, you guys have to type in your keys for that. So I don't know if you guys should do that to even vote. And this is stuff that has to be worked out a couple weeks in advance to give time for like people like you and I to explain this to people. And also, I think that there needs to be a central place for all Cardano information. And that probably already exists on the Cardano forum, but we all need to know that. The Telegram, it's kind of the best place to get information right now, it seems like, the Telegram. And it's a lot to sort through, and not all of us have the time to read through a lot of these messages. So the best thing you can really do, at least the best thing I do, is I go back and look at the pin post, I ask my friends and I ask my buddies, but there needs to be a central place for information, and then that information needs to be given to us as YouTubers so we can get that information out. And if it is the Cardano forum, I think there is a section on there that says specifically announcements, and I'm not allowed to post in there even as a Cardano ambassador, so that is a good place to get all of your announcements. But we as a community to make sure that that is the place to get the sure information, what's going on. And I do give them some credit because Charles did come up with this like a day before the rewards were ending, so he should have done it earlier. But that's not his fault. He was just trying to push it on. But like in the future, we need to have a little bit more time to announce this vote and have more time to discuss if that's what we actually want. You know, in my opinion, I think that either we need to just let the ITN die, or not die, but let that vote die. Like let the rewards not come for another month, and then, or the other option is we take another vote. We give maybe a week or so to announce it, to tell everyone about it, to maybe let them build on that software a little more, and then vote again, or just say that's it. We can still use this in the future to prototype things like we were mentioning earlier if stake pool operators are willing to keep their pools open. But maybe we should do rewards for another month, especially because it is already the 29th, and in a month now we're gonna be coming on to Shelly, you know. So
yeah, it's moving quick.
Yeah,
it's moving very quick.
It really is. So what do you think about that? Like as a central hub of information, do you think the Cardano forum is a good place for that?
Definitely. I feel like the Cardano forum is one of the more official sources of information. If you are going to look for the latest happenings. But I think it should come down to the community, really, just communicating. I'm on Twitter a lot. I'm on Telegram a lot. And it really comes down to, having these trusted sources of information, maybe not so much like concentrated to one or two sources, but having multiple outlets that you can actually get referenced information from. Like for me personally, I've got my website. Check it out. It's kaizencrypto.com. And on there, I do stuff like blog posts, talking about relevant news. So yeah, I think like just having like many different outlets for information, definitely, because that's going to facilitate a more broad conversation, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I think us as YouTubers need something like, I need them to say, hey, all of the important information that you need to give out to your community is in this announcements page. And then maybe I can set up some sort of notifications to where it'll send me an email when anything's posted in there, so I can make sure everyone on my Twitter and everyone on my YouTube and my Discord channel is up to date. And that's what my Discord link's down below, but I've been trying to do that lately, guys, is just keeping everyone informed through my Discord server and helping out with the Haskell nodes to try to bring some more people over from Telegram. Because to me, it's just like there's too much going on over there. There's too many people. And Discord lets you kind of organize these things in channels more. And I know there is different like Cardano channels, but it still is one channel for everything. And Discord gives you a lot more moderation. I think that's really important, especially for making sure good information is going out. But yeah, if you guys want to join my Discord, that link is down below. We love to help people out with their pools. We've been helping out a lot of people with setting up their Haskell nodes on the testnet. It's been a lot of fun. We've been building a big community over there, and I'm happy that you actually joined today.
Yes. Yeah. It's very cool to see all the people chatting and, getting ideas.
Mm-hmm. So we did get a super chat from John Hamilton. He said, thank you guys for all the hard work. I appreciate that, man. We are coming to the end of the conversation, so I will go through and read some of these. Kalika Meta said, hi, Big Pay and Kaizen. How are you? It's amazing and good to see you guys live. It's good to see you guys, to see you here live. I really appreciate you coming by. I'm doing pretty awesome. How are you doing? I think you said good earlier.
Yeah, really great to see you guys.
For sure.
Really awesome to read the comments, too. Hope you guys are all doing well. I know everybody's asking. I see a couple guys in the chat. Byron, thanks Kaizen for the tutorial on the node build. Hey, just stay tuned to the channel of both of us. I think we've got lots of information to share with you guys. Mm-hmm. With Big Pay, he's got his node right now running on a cloud server. I've got the bare metal setup going on. So I think between us two, joining the Telegram chats and the Discord chats, if you're interested in operating a stake pool, this is it.
Yeah. So what has been your experience so far running a bare metal server?
Well, so it's been a learning experience since I started. Sure. Yeah, it's between building the PC, getting up the software. I was mentioning to you in one of our chats, I'm at like level 3 Linux, so it's always something that I'm learning.
Out of how many levels? I'm just curious. Is there 4 or 10?
Out of maybe, let's say 10.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I'm not much better, man. Maybe level 4,
Yeah.
For sure. It just takes time. But yeah, doing this stuff is awesome, man. So did you, when I was younger, I built my first PC when I was around 15 or 16, and it was such a surreal experience for me. And I actually built it to play video games. Was it like a kind of do you feel like it was a passion project for you? Did you really enjoy building it?
It had to be a passion project.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, the amount of just frustration initially because of being so new and not knowing what to do and like all the steps involved, it has to be a passion project.
Hmm.
For me, it's like having this YouTube channel and having you guys holding me accountable is tremendous because it keeps me going.
Yeah.
And having a community to fall back on, it's like it's massive. So
Hmm.
I can't thank the community enough, and it's always a learning experience. It's always fun.
Yeah, and that's one thing I did want to mention about these live streams and about the community is that, in a way, you guys educate me a lot more than I educate you because if I don't know something and I'm talking in a video about it, I have to take a lot of time to research that topic. Or if I'm in a live stream and you ask me a question that I don't know, I'm like I'm not sure about that. So I have to. So it gives me a good. You guys point out the gaps in my knowledge, and it's awesome to be able to fill those because it's a lot harder to look at it from a broad perspective and figure out what you're missing in the pieces that you're trying to put together for a video or for a live stream when you're trying to explain someone to something, either in the Discord server too. That's a good example of that. Another one of the questions I wanted to ask you is specifically what got you into cryptocurrency, and then to talk on to that question, is there a particular currency that you were into first before you got to Cardano, or is Cardano the first currency that really brought you into the ecosystem? I saw you had some videos on DeFi and some stuff like that in the past, so I was curious about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm a big libertarian, so
Yeah, me too.
just being my own bank, being self-sovereign. I live in the United States, so it's a big thing as far as personal freedom from government and all that kind of stuff. So keeping my money separate from all that. Um, I learned about Bitcoin from a friend at around about 2013, 2014. I heard about it, didn't really know much. I was just like, oh, it's cyber money, internet money
Hmm.
for buying stuff on the dark web. So I was like, okay. But then 2017 comes around. I'm like, what is this cryptocurrency? I keep on hearing about this. Look at Bitcoin, and I see the price is over $1,000 in early 2017. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy expensive. And this is going back to where I had no idea. Beginning of 2017, I think, is where we started to see this
Just
hype
rise, yeah.
starting to build up. We saw Ethereum come out with this ICOs. So 2017 was really where I started to get my feet wet. It was kind of like being in a space shuttle and dodging asteroids and trying not to get hit. It's just like,
Hmm. Yeah,
you're
especially with all
gonna
the
have
currencies
some,
coming out at that time and all of them being built
yeah.
on Ethereum, and you're not really sure like what's a good source of information.
Oh yeah. Like watching these crypto YouTubers now, it's like, man, who do you believe anymore?
Yeah.
So that's a lot of the main reason why I started my own channel. It's like, wow, I want to be a resource for people who want to get into cryptocurrency without having to worry about, is this guy even telling me what I need to know, or is this guy just trying to shill his altcoin?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And it's going to be it's going to take a lot longer for us to grow, but I think it's going to be more healthy growth in the long run because we could be making videos like just kind of clickbaity, like how to make a lot of money, like farming,
yeah,
DeFi. You know what I mean?
yep,
So and
exactly.
but doing this route and being in such a good community, I think the growth is going to be a little bit slower, but it's going to be a lot more stable. And there's also going to be a lot of better people around us, and less how am I going to make the most money quickly? You know what I mean?
Sure,
And
sure, absolutely.
yeah, and that's So what was the first cryptocurrency you bought?
Ooh, that's a good one. First one, definitely Bitcoin.
Yeah,
On Coinbase.
me too. Me
I
too.
was yeah, I was stuck on Coinbase for a while, but then I was like, this has got to stop. I mean, like paying almost $5 every time you want to buy $20 worth of crypto. It's like,
Hmm. Yeah, it's
wait a minute.
crazy how they get away with that, honestly.
Yeah,
And now there's a
yeah.
lot more good resources. Like I think the closest thing to compare to like Coinbase would be the Cash App. That's a really good place to buy cryptocurrency. The fees aren't too bad, honestly. Usually they don't. It's kind of a hidden fee. They usually
Mhm.
chalk like $50 onto Bitcoin, so on the whole price. So like percentage wise, $50 on 9,000 is not very much, you know. And
Yeah.
especially when you compare that to Coinbase prices. So like my first cryptocurrency, someone actually sent it to me. So I think I've told this story once, but I'm gonna tell it again because it's a pretty cool story. I was like 13 or 14, and I loved Minecraft, like a lot of 13 and 14-year-olds at the time. And so I hosted a Minecraft server, and I did it just because I like to tinker with it's pretty similar to the JSON files we tinker with the nodes now, but you can tinker with the Minecraft settings in the JSON files. And I just had so much fun spending hours doing that. And I built a pretty big community around my Minecraft server. And randomly one day, a guy got on and said, "Hey, Big Pay, man, I don't have PayPal or anything. Would you be willing to accept some Bitcoin?" And I'm like, Bitcoin? What's that, man? So I started looking it up. Yeah, so I look up the price, and I'm like, well, it's got value to it, and like it didn't cost me anything. So what you do is you buy like a donation rank on the server. And it didn't cost me anything to give him the donation rank. So I was like, screw it, man. I'll take some Bitcoin. And I have no idea. It's just lost on a hard drive somewhere. And it was $15 in 2013 or 2014. So it's probably worth a bit now, but probably not like a ridiculous amount. But it's definitely worth probably a few $100s, you know. But that was my first experience with it. And then similar to you, in 2017, I was really interested in a lot of cryptocurrency. I was really interested in Monero for a while. And then someone texted me and said, "Hey man, you should check out ADA. It's at 9 cents right now." So then I, like everyone else, I started watching Charles' whiteboard video and then really looking at the ideologies behind Cardano, and it just the idea of voting, and it just seemed like he really wanted this to become a decentralization and push himself away as the leader of the network and have it last for a very long time. And it did seem like the next step, the iteration up from Ethereum. And then, I mean, you can see that with Ethereum just following in the line of all the stuff that Cardano announced even back then, you know. But yeah, I'm really happy to be here, man. I feel like, because I mean, yeah, if you joined in 2017, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This summit coming up next week, it feels like Charles says, it's all coming together for this weekend, and I'm really excited for that, you know. So what there's a lot of good speakers coming. What big announcements? Do you have anything in mind of what they could be announcing or anything like that?
That's a good one. To be totally honest with you, I'm not sure. I'm just excited as you guys. I'm curious to hear all the guest speakers. I know I had made a video talking about Vince Cerf. He's one of the early pioneers that helped found the internet. So having his perspective on what this technology is going to bring to the table over the next decades is, I'm looking forward to hearing his thoughts. I'm curious about that. As far as Cardano and how it relates to the project, I'm going to be very curious to hear more about Hydra, the scaling solution. I'm very curious to hear about smart contracts. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to share my thoughts with you guys.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I'm not very good at really guessing what they're going to come up with, but I know that it's going to be pretty awesome. I'm really excited for it. I was thinking about maybe doing kind of like for the main events, maybe like with Vince Cerf, and then like mainly when Charles is coming on, I might do a couple live streams those days just to have a few people there chatting, doing some little commentary, because I would love to hear what your guys' opinions are as I'm giving my own opinion as this stuff's coming out. But I did just look at the viewer count. It says there's 73 people here. I really appreciate you guys all coming by today for the support, man. This is my first time doing this, so I am really having a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate the support.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me a little bit more about Vince Cerf. You said you made a video on him. I didn't actually catch that. Because you said he was the founder of the internet, but did he work for IBM? Is that...
I'm
not very knowledgeable on the start of the internet as much as I should be, you know.
Sure. Yeah, I really had no idea to begin with until I did more research on it. But apparently he was one of the early pioneers in co-founding the internet. I guess now he is on a board of advisors for Google and doing stuff there. But I mean, he was one of those people that you look at back and it's like, wow, this technology changed the world. 10 years ago, maybe he thought that, okay, this is a fun hobby or a cool project. But, that's one thing I'm curious to know about the thoughts of leaders that are in this space, especially like Charles Hoskinson. Mm-hmm. We've been following this project now for a while. I know many of our viewers are as well. And, the thought process behind creating a technology that'll fundamentally change the world, like how do you have that vision just starting out? So, I think that's one thing, like I want to see how he thinks, really. I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I do that a lot too, especially like just for the greats, you want to, in a way, mimic how they think, so then maybe you can do something exceptional in the future too. Because I mean, there's no better way to learn than just look at the great people that came before you. and it's cool to see him there, and like Wolfram, Stephen Wolfram coming too. I'm really excited for that. As far as the Hydra channels thing goes, man, I'm really excited for that, and that's why I'm telling a lot of stake pool operators. A lot of people are very worried about this pledge value and saying that maybe it's not going to be worth it to make a pool because they're not going to be in the 150. If you're not going to be in the 150, what you need to do is create a niche in the market, provide something to the community, and then you can bring delegators to your stake pool by making YouTube videos or making forum posts or just giving back to the community. And within your contribution, you include your stake pool, and a lot of people are going to be willing to help you out. And that's really the only way to be a part of this K value. And you also have to think about like the future stuff, the Hydra channels. Eventually, most of the stake pool operator's income is going to come from things like Hydra channels and transactions. Getting paid from blocks is going to slow down. One thing they mentioned is there's going to be kind of a halving. It's like a decay rate, and it's similar to radiation's decay. Like in Chernobyl, for example, there's a certain decay amount, and over time, over 10,000 years, eventually that is going to run out. But that's essentially what they're doing with Cardano. The amount that they're paying for blocks is going to be decaying, which is very good because there's not going to be this event in 4 years that's saying, okay, everyone that's running a pool, have fun. You're getting paid half of your money now. And it's like, figure that out, you know? So it's really good that they thought of that. And over time, we're going to be making less money, but there are going to be Hydra channels and transactions and a lot more stuff coming. And I'm really excited. I think that's one of the main things I'm excited for in the summit is the Hydra channels they're talking about.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see also how the stake pool operators are going to be able to facilitate that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'm learning about is having the core node and then having your relays. So, how will Hydra kind of integrate in both of those? It'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what that looks like.
And I'm really excited for the learning experience, man. I feel like every new thing that I have to do, whether it's with this channel, with its live streaming or or editing videos, making thumbnails, and I'm getting better every day at it. And that's why I have such a good time doing this, man. Because one of the things that makes me the happiest is just learning new stuff, And there's so much going on. Whether it's I have to learn Linux, I have to learn maybe Haskell if I want to build some dApps, Because I thought it would be really cool to build some of the early dApps and really have. It's easier for me to learn something if I have a reason to learn it, And
sure.
And because I'm so passionate about Cardano, it's going to be easy for me to say, okay, I'm going to spend a couple months writing some Haskell code every day, maybe for 2 hours a day before it's going to come out. If that's the language that you're going to write the dApps in, And and I'm really excited for what it's going to take to learn how to use these Hydra channels, And it's really cool. I'm excited for all of it. It makes me giddy almost, But I did want to take this time to ask the viewers, how are you guys all doing? What's been going on? I appreciate you guys all coming here. It says there's 80 people here. That's pretty crazy. This is the most people I've ever had in a live stream, so I really do appreciate it. All right, I'm going to start at Richard von der Molen. Announcement 4, staking and rewards, not only ADA, but also other crypto rewards. Yeah, that's really cool, man. And that has to do with the Hydra channels, which is awesome. That it's going to be interesting to see how... Because like when you're building a stake pool, you deal with a lot of keys. For example, when you're building your stake pool, just for the wallet alone, you have to have a staking key, a V key, and an S key for the staking address, and a V key and an S key for the payment address. So in my head, in the future, these Hydra channels, when there's a bunch of different currencies all built on top, I'm gonna have like a wallet with like 50 different keys in it, And it's going to be interesting to see how they like micromanage that. Do you have any thoughts on that? Have you gone that far? Like, what am I going to do with 50 different keys and 50 different wallets? That I'm having to.
I know. Yeah, exactly. It's like having that stored in your mind. It's like, whoa, okay, overload. Having maybe a dedicated machine just to keep your keys. It's maybe that's what it comes down to. I don't know.
Yeah, just get something like I've been looking online at. Because it takes so little computing power to run these nodes. I've been looking online at just refurbished work PCs and stuff for stuff like storing keys. And I've seen a lot of good deals actually on refurbished PCs. A lot cheaper than anything you can build buying parts. Also, Craigslist is a good outlook for that. Like, there's a lot of, because you don't need much to build your computers, and that's what I pretty much said in my video. Is my stuff is overkill. I mean, you can get on Craigslist and buy a computer for $200 and it'll run your node fine. And I recommend an SSD. So if you spend $200 on the node and then spend 50 to 100 on the SSD, I mean, you're pretty much ready to go. And it is under my desk right now. I have two different computers. I have my main computer for Windows, and then I have my other node computer which is running Linux on it. And altogether, I want to say there's like 30 different wires. And I have like a switch. Dude, it's awful. It's awful. I couldn't imagine adding a third one. I think Duckpool, for example, he sent me a picture and he had a lot, to say the least. He had a lot of machines running, and I'm sitting there thinking like, man, how are you dealing with all these wires?
I know. I know.
Especially like even Digital Fortress. I've seen his setup, and he's got like a long desk with keyboard and mouse setup over here, and then different monitor setups for each PC. And that's what I went and got that switch for. It's pretty cool. You can put 4 inputs in it, and just click one button. It'll switch all 4 inputs over in a second. And it's like it's life changing, especially for switching over. Because I didn't want to have like a big long setup, because I don't have much space. I do live in a big city, so I mean, real estate's pretty expensive around here,
Sure. Yeah, no, Digital Fortress. That's like that's a proper command and control center right there. I know it's
it
it's
is.
very
That's
cool.
why he always posts the Star Trek memes about it too.
I know.
But
that's a great theme for what he's trying to do, by the way. I mean, like Star Trek. I mean, he couldn't have chosen a better theme,
especially with the setup. I did want to mention that I'm like pretty sad that the ITN got canceled essentially. No one voted for it, and it really makes me sad.
I know.
I don't know. I bet a lot of people aren't really that sad about it because a lot of people weren't around back then to participate. But I just don't know how I feel about it. I just thought that it was going to pass. I know that the people that did vote actually voted yes. And then in my head, like initially, I'm sorry for harping on this over and over again, but it's just what I've been thinking about a lot lately. And I feel like initially from that live stream that I was on, the Cardano effect, it was the stake pools voting. And a certain amount of the stake pools had to vote. And I don't know if we actually reached that point or not. But I think out of nowhere, because that was like the big announcement live stream in my opinion. So that's where a lot of people got that central information. And everyone was told that the stake pool operators are voting. And they were asking us for our opinions. And I think a lot of people were upset that it's just the stake pool operators voting. So that's why they made that software thereafter. And I don't even know how many people had to vote. I thought it was just, I thought he said 3/4 of stake pool operators. And I asked him during that live stream, I said, well, is that 3/4 of active stake pools? Because if that was the case, then I think it would have passed. I mean, because they say active stake pools, they run the number around 250 to 300, I think. And I think it's been slowly increasing. But I don't see stake pool operators were given 2 options, right? They were given money or no money, right? They're obviously going to keep their nodes running up to not lose this branding that they've had with their delegates, and because people they're not interested in the ITN now, that it's not paying out anything. And I know that most stake pool operators I think would have voted yes on that, and then the percentages I saw was 96%. So I'm very, very curious about the information they're going to come out with that, but I know they're swamped with a lot of stuff going on with the summit. So I bet they're going to mention it at the summit, but I'm curious to see what they're going to come out with to comment on that,
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I was actually watching Charles's live stream yesterday talking about the vote more. And, just like you were saying, it's just like what parameters are they using to figure out who is actually needing to vote and what votes do we need to get in order for something like that to pass? Yeah. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff up in the air right now. Definitely. There's a lot of I guess there's a lot of clarity issues, there's a lot of misunderstanding.
Yeah, just miscommunication. And he did mention that to be fair,
Yeah, actually I tried that JorVote software. It worked just fine. I entered the keys in. So, but yeah, as far as being a stake pool operator and voting, yeah, definitely very, still kind of up in the air about that.
Yeah, and also with all the stuff going on with Haskell right now, I mean, I spend a lot of time reading stuff about Cardano. I spend a lot of time in the chats. I get a lot of information and stuff like when I updated to 9, I think it was 9.0.1. Immediately you had to change your config files. And with all the stuff that's going on with the Haskell nodes, there's a lot of changes happening on there, so you have to stay up to date with that, which makes sense because it's it's ever changing. You know, in a month it's going to be pretty different from what it is now. And but with Jormungandr, I didn't think that updating would have had to make me change my file format. I didn't think. I mean, it made it more nice and concise, and I do like those changes. But like, just it takes me back to what I said earlier. If I don't know it, because I spend so much time reading and talking to people in the Cardano community, then I know a lot of people don't know what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And maybe a lot of stake pool operators just didn't really feel that it was necessary because Haskell's coming out. You know, because of how much work it took to do so. I mean, once you change your config files and then it got your node up and running, it wasn't very hard. You just had to type in probably 5 to 10 commands, but it's just we need a central source of information, especially for people like you and I. You know, I was curious about the symbology of your shirt, like with the snake wrapping around. Is that really anything?
Yeah, no, it's Ouroboros.
Is it? Is that like the what they use for that?
Yeah. So this is I got so Cardano Foundation gave me the thumbs up on creating these shirts. So this merch is up on the Teespring store. Ouroboros, so they got the snake eating the tail. Just figured I'd sport some Cardano merch, you know, especially as we're getting closer to Shelly. Just got to represent. So yeah, this one is Ouroboros with the Cardano logo.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on my ambassador T-shirts, man. Isn't it crazy that I do these live streams all the time and you never see me repping anything Cardano?
That's crazy, man.
I got about 15 of those tangent cards that I give out to my friends. Like when they come over, I'm like, "Hey man, you want some cryptocurrency on a card? Got you right here, man." I hook them up with a little bit of ADA too, but yeah, I've been waiting for that shirt so I can rep some merch, and then I've been waiting on the okay from Amazon to actually let me do mine on there, and then I emailed the Cardano Foundation about maybe letting me make some designs using the logo, because the trademark policy is you're allowed to use just the logo, but as soon as you add some stuff to it, that's when you have to go to them directly for permission, you know. And that's what I've been trying. I'm sure they're swamped with people asking to do the same thing all the time, but I am looking forward to getting some big pay merch, and same with my branding and stuff too, man. That's why I like that you started off with such good branding early. I'm the opposite, man. My branding and my thumbnails are all whack, and my content's, people like my content, and I haven't done any branding yet. And I've been working with somebody, but he's a really good graphic design artist, and he's swamped with he actually did the stuff for the Cardano Foundation. I don't know if you saw the 20-year anniversary. Yeah, he did that. Yeah. And so he's an awesome guy, and that's why he's so swamped. But eventually, like with these podcasts and with my channel, there's going to be a lot more branding going on, that I'm going to be selling the branding on T-shirts too.
Nice.
So I am excited for that.
Nice. That'll be awesome.
So I'm curious why you chose Teespring.
Yeah, I mean, I figured like I could integrate it with the YouTube channel.
Really?
There are definitely other websites, but I feel like the user experience definitely with Teespring is something that a lot of people are familiar with. So yeah, just trying to, just getting started. And then if I do need to change, it's no worries. I can always change it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I did look into Teespring a little bit. I thought it was pretty interesting. I wanted to ask you, what do you do besides crypto? Like besides make YouTube videos and cryptocurrency? I want to get to know you more, man.
Yeah,
I'm sure your viewers do too.
No, it's all good, man. So I actually work at a tech company. It's a pretty big tech company. I'm just doing retail sales. Cool. So that's kind of what get me into like IT and whatnot. But a lot of what I'm doing on the side, like learning graphic design, putting up the stake pool, learning how to create content. So I feel like I've got a lot of hobbies, and those have kind of kept me busy aside from my main gig.
Yeah, for sure. So you make all your own logos? That's awesome, man. Because I did, in one of your first videos, I saw that you had, it was a similar design for your header on YouTube, but you changed it, and that's pretty cool that you do your own stuff, man. I do like that. Yeah, I need to get better at graphic design, at least just to work off of the starting point that I'm given from him, to build up from there. Sure, absolutely. So what other kind of hobbies are you into, man? Or do you just stay busy from with all this stuff that you don't really have much time for other hobbies?
To be totally honest, man, it's work, and then I'm working on either the YouTube channel or the stake pool.
Yeah, yeah.
Nowadays, that's my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm doing right now.
Are you excited to get started with the Haskell node?
Very excited. So right now what I'm doing, I've got my PC and I'm getting that configured. So I'm actually going to be doing another build pretty soon. I know we were talking about like getting some decent hardware for cheap. What I tried to do was challenge myself by getting a cheap PC build by finding like the lowest cost hardware possible.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm sure a lot of people would probably be interested in building a PC, but like for the lowest price point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the project that I'm working on right now. Hopefully, if you guys are watching and if you're interested in building a PC for cheap, hopefully you guys do find some value from that. I'm going to be putting that on my channel pretty soon. So
I'll have to check that out, man. It sounds like a good
video. It's keeping me busy. So
yeah, that's what I think a lot of people are interested in that. And one thing that people are very worried about with this K equals 150 thing.
Mm-hmm.
Pledge isn't the only thing in this algorithm. It's also costs. And we have a minimum cost at $2,000 a year. I think the epochs are about a week long. So you take 2,000 and you divide that by 52 weeks. Off the top of my head, I think that's like 160 to 170 a month. So I'm willing to just make that my minimum. And that would push you higher in the ranking because if you have a low cost on your pool, you're going to be higher up in the ranking. So pledge isn't the only parameter. They're taking all of these things into account. So I don't want people to be discouraged about making a stake pool, especially because they're talking about increasing this K value. And then if you guys get discouraged about making your stake pool, really the only thing that I would say to be discouraged thing is the legality of where you're at and the taxes. If you can't be competitive because of your taxes, then that's a good reason, man. I can't harp on you that. But if you're worried about your pledge value, I think being an early adopter and really getting out there and fighting initially is going to pay off in the end when we have these other things like Hydra channels and stuff. But that could be your alternative is you make a low-cost pool, you choose a low-cost cloud service, or like you said, you use Kaizen's video to build a PC where you can get your ROI because 160, it's 160 a month. I divided it by 12. That's what I did. So 160 a month. If you build a computer for $300, I mean, you're paying that off in 2 months. So then the rest of that is just profit. And then you could use the other costs for your relays on a cloud service, So I feel like that $2,000 minimum they set really gives low-cost stake pool operators a backbone to sit on. So you will have more room to lower your fees. And then if you lower those fees, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4%, you're not going to have a hard time bringing in delegates, especially if you create a niche in the market, like I mentioned earlier, and you're willing to get that branding out there, But,
sure.
But you also have to keep in the mind of how much time it takes to create that niche in the market, For a lot of people, it might be easier if you have 300,000 ADA and your time is worth a lot of money to you, it might be easier just to delegate that, If you have a good job for something like a tech company and you're making $100,000 a year, it might make a lot more sense for you just to delegate your ADA and then create a stake pool, Because I think that the time you spend should either be included in that cost or you're including that in the fees that you charge,
Yes, absolutely. I think that's something that a lot of people overlook when it comes to considering if you should build a stake pool. Having a cloud service provider to run it, or even if it's a bare metal server, that's the hardware side of things. That's like what you physically need, but then the time also, you got to account for that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So what are you going to do about your relay nodes? Do you think that you're going to use a cloud service for the relay nodes and then keep the bare metal at home? Or are you going bare metal, another bare metal, or?
Probably another bare metal. That's what it's looking like.
Really?
I feel like
bare metal kind of guy?
I tell you what, like limiting any outside factors, I guess having more control is kind of what I'm going for.
Yeah, it's the libertarian in you. You just want your own PC at home,
that's what it is. But with that, there's a higher upfront cost. So that's.
And then you have to deal with the networking stuff a lot more too. And
yeah, that's what I'm dealing with right now with the ITN. Just getting that port forwarding figured out.
Yeah, for sure.
So Yeah.
I did want to turn to the audience. Do you guys have any questions for us? I'm just curious. I can start reading some of the chats that I've missed. Brian Evans said Kaizen build is about 800 to 850. Is that what your block producing build is?
That's yes. So that is the main node that's running right now. It's actually running both 2 relays and a core. So with that amount of computing power, I was able to manage getting all 3 instances running on one machine, which is, I'm pretty excited about that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, stay tuned for a budget PC build if you guys want to figure out how to do this for the cheap. I think that's something many people are interested in. If you're interested in getting started but want to limit your upfront cost. So ideally, if I can build a PC for less than 400, that's what I'm going to go for.
So what resource are you going to be using to buy those parts for a cheaper price to make that build cheaper?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be getting them new, or are you going to be looking at used alternatives, or?
Definitely. So for me personally, just with the amount of trouble I had with the last build, having an issue with the motherboard or the CPU, I think buying new is the way to go. And dealing with Amazon customer service is great. Free 2-day shipping. And if something doesn't work,
free returns too, man. That's the best part.
Yeah, if it doesn't work, I just send it back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what's so nice is that if you get something that's not working, but it's like kind of working, you need it to do something, you can have them send you another one before you even return it. And you have like a month to do so. So that is really useful for stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I do like the idea of a cheap PC build video, man. I'm going to have to check that out. So are you going to be using that PC for your relays then? Or just like maybe your Haskell node? Or are you going to split them up on different PCs? You also don't have to give out any of the information that you want to keep private as well, too.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I feel like being transparent is the way to go.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, I mean, whatever ends up happening with what Chile looks like on mainnet, I think with the bigger computer that I've got, most likely having a couple relays and then, having maybe an offline node that stores the keys, I think that'll probably be what I try and figure out.
Yeah, for sure. So I did ask the viewers a minute ago of any questions that they had. So let me go back to where I was.
Sure, yeah.
Wonder Sound Radio said, which DApp would you like to see first on Cardano? You want to start with that one first?
Yeah.
That's a good question, man. I like that one.
I like that one too.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Wonder Sound.
First DApp that I'd like to see on Cardano. I feel like what's gaining a lot of the buzz and a lot of the hype right now is DeFi. Getting a stable coin for ADA, and we're talking about native assets. I think having its own stable coin, some type of DeFi platform, some type of DeFi application, man, it's going to be able to compete miles ahead. I think Ethereum's going to have a run for its money.
You think so? Yes.
Yeah.
I need to look more into to DeFi, man. I've just been so balls deep in Cardano for so long that I haven't given other crypto projects the time because I do have other hobbies. Before we got on here, I told you that I was kayaking before we got on here. That's why I look a little red. Got a little sun. Feels good, man. But
nice.
What I need to take some more time to look at other projects because there is a lot to learn from other people, and that's what I like about another ideology that I love about Cardano is the fact that we want to work with other people. We're not saying, "Hey, I'm the best, man." They're like, "Okay, let's put your token on our chain." I do really appreciate that. As far as what is my first app, I'm going to move away from the DeFi scenario. So another thing that I love to play is poker. I would love to.
Nice.
I would love to build a DApp on Cardano that's just Texas Hold'em. Just you can play with Cardano. Just do like tournaments with like something small initially, like $10 buy-ins, and just have people play on there. But one thing you do have to worry about with that stuff though is people build like scripts and stuff to like simulate what percentage chance you have of winning the hand. So you have to be careful with stuff like that. And I think to counter that, I would have to just build that in. You know what I mean? So everyone knows that percentage chance and no one's at a disadvantage. But I would love to build, and I think that's kind of like what my passion project is going to be if I want to learn Haskell, is just building like a nice little Texas Hold'em game on top of Cardano. I think that would be really fun just to play with viewers. And yeah, have you ever played poker?
Yeah.
Played Hold'em? Yeah.
No, yeah. Well, I've played a few times. I'm a big fan of blackjack. I like that. Yeah, that'd be really cool to see, man. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, and it's like I'm not really much of a gambling guy other than investing in cryptocurrency, but as far as
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
as far as like the other risk I like to take is poker, man. I just feel like I have a better chance, and I like it'd be cool too to have like just to play with people that you have like on video too, so there's still that the facial interaction, because I think that's really important for poker. Um,
Sure.
any other DApps I can think of? I would like to see. I would like to see video games be built. I'm really excited that Charles bought that company. I know he plans to integrate Cardano with that
Yes.
somehow, and
Yes.
I just
Legends of Valor.
yeah.
Interesting.
Have you looked into that in the past, or have you played that or anything? So I'd never heard
Uh,
of it before him announcing it. It was a
Me
little
neither.
bit,
Me
yeah, it
neither.
was a little before my time.
Yeah, me too. Me too. To be totally honest with you, I feel like have you heard of RuneScape? I mean, I feel like it might be
Yeah,
something similar to that, but
really.
I really have no idea.
Yeah, I heard him mention. So this is like the best way for me to describe it in my head. I heard him mention that if they would have changed a couple things, it would have been the Elder Scrolls. It would have kept going, and so that kind of gives me an idea that maybe it's like Morrowind or some of the early Elder Scrolls games, And it'd be pretty cool because he said he's going to rebuild it all. It's not going to be like a remaster. He's going to be using the new technology that we have now to kind of refresh the game, and I think that's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be
Yes.
it's really cool that he has the opportunity to just go into a different venue like that and just build a game on top of his cryptocurrency.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I've always been really passionate about video games before cryptocurrency. That was definitely my thing, and that's why you can probably still see it on my YouTube channel a little bit. I left those videos up, man. I just think it's kind of weird to take them down, but all my videos used to be about video games, and
Nice.
yeah, I made a hard pivot to cryptocurrency in about 2017, but I'm happy to be here.
Nice.
Let me see if we got any more good questions. Ron Hill says, at Big Pay, a lot of the DeFi projects are just distractions. Yeah, that's why I usually give it some time. Like, I've had a lot of people reaching out to me about DeFi and telling me, like, hey, man, this is the next big thing. This is, like, hey, man, this is the next big thing. You got to look into this. This is the way the next bull market's going to come. This is the way to make quick money fast. And whenever I hear quick money fast, I'm always like, oh, yeah, like, cut it. So that's why I haven't given the time to look into DeFi. But I mean, like I said, I do like playing poker, so I do have a little bit of risk adverse, and it's just a little bit fun, So I might look into it a little more. But I'm sure when Cardano would have something like that, I'll be a lot more interested in it, for sure. Ron Hill or Jesse James Hedwick said, "Will you gain as much or more rewards from staking your own ADA if your infrastructure is reliable as you would staking with a top pool?" Does that make sense? Jesse, there's a lot to this question. I mentioned earlier in this video that there is an algorithm that determines what the top pools are, and if you're number one, that means essentially you're paying your delegates the most, and you have to have a high pledge with lower costs. But the thing is, it's not going to be low cost, because these people are going to include, if they have 2 million ADA in there, they're going to say, okay, I have 2 million ADA invested. This is a risk. I need to be paid for this risk. And that's why they set A not at 0.30. That's why K is 150, because they want a stable amount of people to do that. But as far as, are you going to make more ADA? Probably not. You're probably not going to make more ADA running your own node unless you bring in delegates, unless you find a way to minimize costs while also having a high pledge to make it in that value. But if, like I said earlier, if you think that you want to create a niche in the market and you have a way to bring delegates to your pool, then the best route would be definitely starting your own pool. But I think you're going to make more, because like even staking with my pool, I'm not going to guarantee you guys that I'm going to be paying you the most. I'm going to be within a small margin of that, enough to account for what I do for the community. You know what I mean? So I think you'll probably make more just delegating to one of the people in the top 150 than making your own pool, unless you take all those things into account.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, because I know a lot of people are thinking about, getting started. How do I start a stake pool? I want to make passive income. So the proposition to make money is there, but the amount of initial investment is something to consider.
Yeah, and that's what I honestly have. I don't think I'm going to make it into the top 150. if they would have made it 250 or maybe even 200, I could have probably pulled it off. But I think a lot of the people are going to put a high pledge in initially because no one knows what it's going to be. So when you change that, it notifies all of your delegates. And I've heard somewhere that you're not going to be able to get rewards for at least a week, maybe even 2 weeks, because you have to wait until the next epoch for those things to change. I'm sure you're still going to get that epoch that you're in while you're changing it, but there may be even a leeway period between that. So it's not good to change the value parameters on your stake pools. So I think initially people are going to say, if I've got 5 million ADA, I'm going to put 2 million in, 2.5 here, 2.5 here, or maybe even more. If I got 5 million, I'm going to put all 5 in, because that means I'm guaranteed going to be in the top pools. Because what is that? Like 5 million? I mean, that's 80,000 times 5, that's a lot of money. So
Yep.
it's, if they do that, they're going to be guaranteed to be in the top pools. And being in the top pools is going to put you very high on Daedalus. It's going to show you, if you have your fees right, it's going to show you as a very attractive pool. And most people, when they're delegating money, because this is all about money, most people are going to say, where am I making the most money, even if it's 1% more, right? And it's hard to say. So I think the pledge values are going to be very high initially. I'm going to be putting as much pledge as I can as possible. I'm going to be keeping my fees low. I already told you guys that my cost per year that I'm going to set is going to be $2,000. It's going to be the minimum because I think I can make that work as far as cost goes. And then my fee, I'll just release it here now. I haven't said this yet. My fee is going to be 5%. That's what it is on the ITN. I think that's very fair because it's only 5% of your rewards. So if you're making 100 ADA a day, I'm taking 5 ADA out of that. It's not 5% of what you delegate to me, and that's a pretty common misconception with what people say. Ron Hill also said, anyone excited about Cyberpunk 2077? I haven't really watched any trailers, man. That's one. So I love The Witcher 3. So I haven't watched any trailers. What I do with video games is I just wait till they come out and then I buy them. I don't watch, I don't read, I don't do anything. I just want, like The Last of Us 2 just came out. I did the same thing. I didn't read, didn't watch, didn't know nothing. Played the game, loved it. Do you play video games often? I'm sure you don't have the time lately, but
yeah, I mean, when I used to play video games, it was back in high school. It was like a few years ago. I was playing like first-person shooters. Call of Duty was my thing, definitely.
Really?
Really big into Call of Duty. Big into like those war action movies, not movies, video games. Nazi zombies, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I used to love playing Nazi zombies, man. Dude, now that you're building PCs and stuff, like it's a whole different experience. You're pretty capped when you're playing on console, and now that you're getting into the PC game, if you ever find some free time, some leeway to give some hobbies in, man, playing some of the new games that came out in the past couple of years, like The Witcher or maybe Cyberpunk when it comes out, I think you'd be amazed at the difference between. You need a certain monitor to do so, but I think it would really like impress you the difference between consoles and computers as
Console and PC.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. It's
definitely, man.
I'm pretty excited about that.
What's been your favorite game on a PC?
On a PC, man, it's hard to say. I'm not really much of a favorite guy. I don't pick favorites that often.
Okay.
The first thing that came to my head was The Witcher 3. I'm going to be honest. The Last of Us is on console, which sucks. It had some stuttering issues, but you got to deal with it, man. It's such a well-written, well-designed game. But yeah, I really like The Witcher 3. I've been playing Civ 6 lately. You ever heard of Civ?
Uh-huh.
Yep, I've been playing that a lot lately. It's pretty fun.
Nice.
Really, that's about it. I haven't really been playing much video games other than The Last of Us lately. But before that, I liked Rainbow Six Siege a lot. I like Destiny 2. I invested too much time into that game, for sure. But yeah, that's what's funny is like the difference between like making YouTube videos and that is because there is a lot of learning in video games. So like at a certain point, I felt like, all right, I'm getting a little old, man. I got to start learning usable skills instead of learning what the best attribute to choose in a video game is, Because it does take as much time and as much thought as making YouTube videos, but
that's fair.
But one actually builds a useful skill, It's pretty fun.
That's fair.
All right, so I know I have been skipping some. AAW said, don't underestimate your community delegations. I'm not. I'm expecting a pretty high turnout on the Haskell testnet, or not Haskell testnet, the Haskell mainnet, because of all the new people in Cardano. And I get comments every day, man, how do I delegate to you, man? I want to support you, but I have to say it's always not out yet. So I'm not very worried about my stake pool, man. I think no matter what, I'll be able to figure it out. I'll be able to make it. And even if I'm not making much initially, my pool is going to stay up forever, man. My dream is to complete transactions, keep the network going. So if I'm not in the 150, don't worry. If I'm in the 400, I'm still going to be there for sure. That's another question I wanted to ask you. Are you here for the long haul? Is that how you feel about it? Like what would stop you from building a pool in mainnet if there is anything, you know?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm definitely here for the long haul. I think, we're both young guys. As far as being able to build your own career, as an entrepreneur, I feel like this is something where I'm super passionate about it. Mm-hmm. I want nothing more than to see this community grow. I want to see the success of this cryptocurrency, do many things more than just pump in price. So yes, I'm definitely here for the long run. People who are delegating to my stake pool, they know that I'm a really transparent guy. I'm pretty laid back. So yeah, I just want to help the community grow. That's my main objective.
Yeah. I've been thinking about something too. I feel like we as content creators need to create videos that are not, because all of my videos, and I'm going to be moving away from this, I promise. All my videos are pretty niche. If you're new to Cardano and you watch my stake pool operator videos, you're going to have no idea what I'm talking about. So what I want to do is make videos that are more attractive to people who haven't heard of cryptocurrency before. And I think that's the next big thing that I'm going to do after the stake pool. Because the stake pool operator series, there was just a lot of people like watching videos for learning. And it's mainly because the text guides leave out some information. And I'll often spend a lot more time trying to figure out the information that they left out. And with my video, I can tell you what I spent an hour doing in 10 seconds, And I think a lot of people enjoyed that. But I feel like the gap that I need to fill after the stake pool stuff is bringing new people into the community. And it's not to raise price. It's to open up more eyes to Cardano, because I think this is a great project. And people with the same ideologies that you and I have are going to immediately be interested in it if these ideologies are given in a easy to learn way and it doesn't seem disingenuous,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. The community, I feel like, wants something that is easy to understand, but you can get a lot of value from it. Being able to deliver that in a video, like for me, that's my personal favorite style of learning. I love video.
Really? So you're a video guy for sure?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I used to be, man, but I switched to text for some reason.
Oh man, like video for me, like, man, I put in my headphones, I'm all set.
Yeah. That's why you need to get a second monitor going, man. So you can have your guide up right here, and then you got the video going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, that's it's a life changer, man. Like if there's one thing, there's two things for as far as PCs goes that I'd recommend people. Like the biggest differences I had in upgrading my PC was buying an SSD. Everything is just 10 times faster on an SSD. It's just there, man. And then a second monitor, because just being able to multitask on two things, because you do a lot of high productivity stuff on your computer, so it would be really helpful for you to get one. Do you do most of your video editing in Photoshop on a Mac? So I think I saw that in your PC build video.
Yes, so definitely running on a Mac right now to edit videos and create the content. As far as editing software, iMovie and Final Cut Pro are my go-to.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. And then
what's Final Cut Pro? Who's that made by? Is that Apple or?
Yep, that's also Apple. That's like their it's like their more advanced version of iMovie. It's got a few more features.
That's cool. I haven't heard of that. Yeah, I use the because I am a college student, so I use the Adobe college discount. Mm-hmm. So I use Premiere Pro and stuff. I'm just getting into it though. But I do like it so far, but I don't like paying a monthly fee for anything. Similar to you with your bare metal servers, So
yes.
I'm kind of looking for a way to find another way to edit my photos and my videos that I'm not having just to throw money in a pot forever, I'd rather pay $300 up front and say, all right, the software's mine,
That's it.
And I don't get any more updates to it, but at least it's mine,
That's true. But
I am going to turn our attention back to some of the comments, because I did say that I was going to read some of these. And we are about an hour and 5 minutes in. It says there's 75 viewers here. I want to appreciate you guys, or I want to say that I appreciate you guys for staying this long. I've had an awesome time today, but I'm happy.
Yes. Hey, Pei, if you don't mind, if I could just jump in. Question from Ron Hill asking me about do I run native Windows or Linux VM? So right now, thanks for the question, by the way. Right now, I'm just running Ubuntu on both instances. So I'm building this. I've got this main PC right now. I'm building a second one. So I'm going to be running 20.04 LTS. That's the operating system. And I think there was another one saying, do you see any reason to set up separate machines for each node? That's a good question. I think it really comes down to like how many relays do you plan on having? What are your cores looking like? Are you going to keep that on a cloud-based server? Are you going to have that bare metal server at your location? So lots of things to consider there. I'm not sure what your system looks like, Pei, but I've got 2 relays and 1 core right now.
For the ITN?
For the HTN, for the Shelly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. So, yeah, that's kind of how I'm going but I'm going to switch it up. I think I'm going to go with cloud for my relays. I just kind of want to have them at different locations.
Sure.
I might move away from that if there is any security purpose to, or like you said, just to lower that cost every month. But I'm pretty sure I can find a good service provider with like high internet speed, fiber connection, low latency for probably $20 a month, like per relay, and then have them on different instances at different locations.
Yeah.
But I really like the way you answered that question, man. That's the same way I've been asked that question a lot before, and that's the same way I answer it every time. There's a lot of variables, for sure. But feel free to jump in on any question that you see because it's hard to because we've missed so many. It's hard for me to see some of the good ones, for sure. Ron Hill said, agreed, Pei. I think we need more content creators focusing on Cardano and need new creators as well. That's what creates exponential growth in the ecosystem. I agree with you completely, man. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier with that niche, that if you want to be a staple operator, that's your dream. Fill that gap, man. There's a lot more room for creators. I'm willing to promote people. The initial hump, I'm sure you can attest to this too. Getting past like the 1 to 500 subscribers is really hard. And that's the thing is, you guys can come on my podcast. It's nothing special. If you guys are new YouTubers, I enjoy your content. I would love to have you on here, have a nice conversation, introduce you to the community, and promote your channel because that initial hump is a B word. But we are family friendly now here on YouTube. So
yes.
Did you have any trouble getting over that initial hump or?
The initial hump was challenging. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
If you go back my earlier videos. One thing that I had to kind of change up in how I was creating the content was I was a bit broad. And I know you were talking about like how your videos are structured more to a niche audience. I actually had the opposite experience. So I was trying to go for talking about things like Bitcoin. I was talking about the broader crypto market. Mm-hmm. And what I wanted to really focus on was Cardano. So getting over that initial hump, that's 0 to 500 subscribers, getting out there and saying, hey, this is going to be a Cardano YouTube channel. So, but once I got past that, I feel like people have really started to engage and give me feedback to help me grow. So now it's, how far can we take this?
Yeah. And that feedback is really important initially, because if you're not getting a couple people saying, hey man, I really liked this. And then also, hey man, your mic audio is messed up, or hey man, I don't like that you did this in particular. It's really hard to keep going. You know what I mean? As people, we need to feel like someone's like at least watching it and it's useful and it is filling that gap, and that's why I would love to help people get over that initial hump. IOHK is kind of who got me over that. I was probably around like 700, 800, and my videos would do pretty well, but as soon as they started tweeting out my staple operator videos, it's like YouTube put me in a different league. Now when I post videos, 50% of my views come from the YouTube browse feature alone, versus before it was Reddit, it was Twitter, it was really me pushing my content, and now YouTube is doing that, and it's just because that initial hump,
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So we got Nostradamus Show said run one of my concept and make more ADA than staking pool. Iterate on that a little more, and I'll look for it at the bottom. I don't understand what you're saying. Sorry about that. Ron Hill said, we need to create content to explain in simple ways. Yep, for sure, man. Ada North Pool said, Jesse, theoretically, it could indeed, but the chances are slim. I didn't read the first comment. Let's go look at that. He said, Jesse said, I wonder if using a Xeon processor and ECC RAM makes a difference in reliability. Ada North Pool's response to that was, Jesse, theoretically, it could indeed, but chances are slim. 0.09% fail rate versus 0.06. I like these comments, but it is good for marketing and also for showing how serious you are as a pool. Yeah, that's another thing I don't really touch on is by going overkill, you kind of attract people that don't know that the nodes don't use much power. So it's like I see on your videos you get a lot of, hey man, you spent way too much on this and you have overkill, but people that know a little bit about PCs but not much about nodes, they want to see like, oh, this man's got a beast PC with a good fiber connection, and that's what it's really good for branding and advertising too if you have a good PC, for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
EO Barrico said, are you guys on fiber or a broadband cable? I am on fiber. Are you on fiber as well?
Yes. So for me, actually, fiber is something that's coming. It's not actually available in my location. So that is coming. Boy, I'll tell you what, once we have fiber, it's going to be an awesome experience.
Really, it's not that much of a difference. The biggest difference I find is the reliability. And this is very variable for broadband connection. If you're in some places, your broadband will go out maybe once a day. In other places, like when I had broadband before I moved to a big city, my broadband never goes down. Never. So it's if I really just wanted to run broadband, I would. But due to my location, it's not much more money. I am on like a little intro cheap deal, so I'll be paying more on it next year for sure. But it's not as important as everyone mentions it, as long as you have a stable broadband connection. The other thing that people talk about is so important with a fiber connection is the latency. And what's good about fiber is the latency is consistent, but like I said, with broadband, it's very variable on the location that you're in. So where you live, the broadband latency might be awesome, but if you're in some town that's far away from any big city, far away from their main centers, you might have much worse latency. So that is something to keep in mind when you're choosing to pick a bare metal server versus a cloud, because most cloud services offer fiber, in case your broadband connection is poor,
Yeah, very true. I think a lot of it comes down to location. Like for us, it's like my internet rarely gives me trouble. But like you were saying, with the latency of fiber connection, definitely you're going to notice a bit of a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why I actually did like a couple speed tests before I switched over. And it's not 100% reliable, the speedtest.net that I did, because it is using the closest server to do it. But the latency difference between fiber and broadband, at least where I live, is very, very marginal, Mm-hmm. Let's see what we got. Yeah, and feel free to jump in if you see any good comments. I'm reading over them right now.
Yeah, we got a lot of people at this live stream. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for all the comments. This is really cool.
Yeah, man, I hope to see you doing something like this in the future.
For sure, absolutely. I think we were talking about it earlier, with this virtual summit coming up. That'd be pretty fun, just to kind of get a collaboration going.
Yeah, for sure. Sean Walker said, I want to run a stake pool, but I don't have any prior experience. What classes should I take or knowledge should I get to be successful? So there's two main things you need to know. It's mostly Linux and networking. As far as classes, I mean, I don't think there's any Linux classes. You know what I mean? There might be some online resources. If you come to my Discord server afterwards, I have a book that's open source. It's free. I'll shoot you that link if you come to the Discord server and at me, and I'll send that to you. It's a really good book. It gives you the basics, and it kind of gives you some exercises to run through stuff. But I wouldn't pay for anything to learn Linux in particular. It's really just practicing and experience. There is a Haskell testnet going on right now. So the best thing for you to do to learn Linux and learn networking and be prepared for it is just to dive in, man.
Yep.
Because like having a reason to do it, like we mentioned earlier, is the best way to learn. And you have a reason, so you'll learn it pretty quick. Ryan M3 said, "Can the ITN be used as a stablecoin network in the future?" Um, I think a stablecoin will be built on top and not really used. We won't use the ITN for that. I don't think. We might use the ITN to maybe test our stablecoin in the future because it's easy to prototype things on there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we would see the ITN use more of a test bed, as far as having a stable coin solely on that network. I don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, definitely we will see something like that on the main chain, but not on the
Yeah, for
ITN.
sure. So we are at an hour and 15. Are you willing to go another 15 till an hour 30? We can answer
Yeah,
these
yeah,
questions.
I'm having a blast. This is
Yeah, me too,
awesome.
man. Yeah, it's really nice. Like live streams are good to interact with people directly because people often have a lot of the same questions. So when you do this in this form, you leave the video up and people are really willing to watch it just to listen for their questions, and oftentimes they are answered.
Yes. Yeah, and you guys are asking some great questions.
Yeah,
This is
for
awesome.
sure. Crypto said, "Let's do a live stream watch party." That's what I was thinking, man. I Have you found anywhere that there's like a schedule, of all the events happening and what time, like
I
because I
actually
haven't
saw something from IOHK. Yeah, I put that on my Twitter.
really. I'll have to look at that.
I did retweet that. I'm thinking that's going to be more of like a kind of like an itinerary for what we can expect with the events and the speakers. I'm hoping that we have some more details to come. I'm definitely paying attention to the Cardano effect podcast because I know they had recently talked about that and what we can expect.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Cardano effect is another great resource in the community, and I was really happy to be on there. Okay.
I like Ron Hill saying, plan to pay it forward in the future too once I gain enough of knowledge base. Yes, that's awesome. Hey, Ron, you're awesome, man. I know, Pay definitely and myself, like we couldn't have done half of what we've accomplished without the support from the community.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
guys are great.
Yeah, it's just because the feedback's so important. And without that feedback, it's hard for us to develop and really just fill the gap that we want to.
Yes, absolutely. Pay pool name, pay it forward.
Keep that in mind. Add that to the list.
Nice.
Jesse said, "I wasn't sure if this has been answered, but how do you use ADA staking as income? Don't you have to undelegate everything in order to take rewards out and then redelegate the base ADA?" No. So what happens is actually pretty cool. It's nice for specifically making compound interest on the ADA that you made, but when you get paid a reward, it goes right back into the wallet that you're using. So for the next epoch after you're paid that payment, epochs are usually about an epoch behind. So when you're getting paid in this epoch, you're getting paid from the previous one, and immediately that ADA is already staked. And what's nice about that is you're not locking up your ADA, so to speak. You can at any time send 10 ADA to someone else, and that ADA just won't be a part of the next epoch. So you don't have to actually take anything out or undelegate or anything. If you have enough ADA to actually make, if you want to consider that as income, if you're making a lot of ADA, you'd be able to spend that as you are making it. Ada North Pole said, "What is the airspeed velocity of the unladen swallow?" Do you know what that means?
Oh man. Wow. Okay.
What is the unladen swallow?
We might have to get Rick over here for that, man. That's a airspeed velocity. Whew.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get the pilot over here.
Yeah, I've been getting quite a few questions from viewers, and talking more about the process for like staking and how to delegate to a stake pool. I'm sure you guys are all aware, but just a quick disclaimer: whenever you do go to stake or delegate to a stake pool, you're not sending any ADA, you're not moving any ADA from your address to another address. It's going to be very seamless. I know Daedalus, Roy, it's all going to have built-in user interfaces. You're going to be able to find the stake pool. You're going to be able to see all the metrics, whether it's related to the tax, the pledge, the return on stake, and it's all going to be done within the user interface of the wallet. So you just delegate. You're not going to send money to any other wallet. So please just be vigilant. Watch out for people, especially once we see Shelly on mainnet, people saying you have to send money to this address so you can earn X amount of returns. You guys are aware of that, but just a, PSA.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree with him completely. I get that question asked all the time. Daedalus is going to be very nice, I think, when Shelly's out. Like I said, that algorithm, that CAFE 150, as delegates, you guys should be really happy about that because they are going to order the pools based on the rewards that you're making, like based on the rewards that these pools are going to give you. And as soon as this pool is saturated, he's not going to be there anymore. He'll still be showed there, but it's going to say red. I'm there. Don't delegate to me. The following one is going to be an unsaturated pool that's paying the second best rewards. So those 150 pools are going to fill up really fast. That's why a lot of people were like worried about not being a part of the 150. But being a part of the 150 is kind of the easy route to running a stake pool because you don't have to fill a gap in the community. You don't have to have reach. You just have to be the most profitable. And that's why people were really sad about that 150 number because they were hoping that they were more willing to support more operators initially. Mike P said, can you explain what the 150 top stack holders, what makes them the top 150? I explained this a little bit earlier. It's literally just the most ADA that you're getting paid based on a couple factors: pledge, the minimum cost that you set, and then the fee that you charge. All of those in combination, there's this formula that I'm going to release in a video. All of those in combination are going to rank those pools into the 150. So if there's 150 pools, but the next epoch, PayADA stake pool joins, and he has better returns than 10 of the people here, I'm going to bump up to 140, and it's going to push one guy out. It's going to be changing every epoch, or it might even be changing daily. But I'm assuming it's going to change every epoch because that's when you can actually change parameters. New stake pools can join. You can change pledge. But that's a lot of people think that there can only be 150 stake pools. That's not the case. I'm sure the 150 first guy and probably 150 to 200, I'm sure they're going to be doing fine, And you have to make it to that point, and you have to fill that niche, so to speak. But the 150 number isn't that bad. It's just not supporting. It's the easy route, so to speak, and they are going to raise that number by 25. So if more people start their pools up initially, they're stable, and you guys are getting delegates, they're going to raise that number very quickly, for sure. And as the value of ADA goes up, that number is going to increase more and more as the value of ADA, as there's more money flowing around in the system, we can support more pools. Because that's what they're worried about, is they're saying, well, if 200 pools, if we don't pay these guys enough for having a million pledge or 500,000 pledge, they're not going to be interested in running the network. So they started this number off conservative to then look at it and say, okay, we have enough money in the ecosystem, we have enough stake pool operators, we can expand on this and it won't have anything bad, it will just support more people, But as they increase that number, the saturation point is going to go down, and then the difference in saturation, that's going to spread out to the other 50 pools and the 200 number if they raise it to 200. Ron Hill says, at Big Pay, I think there's too much focus on the 150 pools right now. People are taking it as they will not be profitable. I think your mic is muted. I don't know if you did that on purpose. I can't hear you.
Oh, is it muted? No, Can you hear me?
I hear you now. Maybe,
there we go.
Maybe you just have good feedback. I didn't hear nothing. So I think the 150 number is really important. I don't think people are focusing on it too much, though. I think it is important to focus on it, but I think there's a misunderstanding on what the number actually means. I think a lot of people are taking it as if you have to be in that 150 to be successful. And that's not the case at all. And we need to get that message out there because we don't want people just to not create a stake pool and not support the network just because they think they have to be in the top 150 to make their pool profitable. Like I said, I'm sure the 150 first guy is going to be doing great. I'm sure he's going to be able to pay all of his bills and he's going to be able to put some money back to support his stake pool in the future. But if you're the 400th guy, you're going to have to grind for a bit. You're going to have to fill that gap in the market. And it's all going to be based on, like I said, those parameters earlier. So it's really important to to just analyze all of this a month before it comes out. And another thing is, it's not a bad idea to just wait and see what happens. To see what these initial pledge values are, and to see if running a stake pool is something that you want to do. Based on the because it's all going to be kind of organic in a way. Like I said earlier, I think initially the pledge values are going to be very high, and then they're going to lower a little bit as more people join the network. As stake pool operators realize, I don't need 5 million. I can split this up into two pools, 2.5 million apiece, and take up 2 of them K slots. So I think initially the pledge parameters or the pledge value that you need to be in the K is going to be a lot higher than it will be in the long run.
Yeah, interesting. And touching on that point, it's like, having that 150, it's really just an overall like a desirability. So yeah, like if you're pool 400, you're going to have to work like you were saying, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to be at a point where you're not making money. And Ross Z was saying that in one of IOHK's AMAs, Kevin mentioned that 20,000 ADA might be the average pledge. I mean, right now we're going to see these initial stake pool operators running with, I've seen almost like 1 million pledge, like maybe more than that. So like crazy high numbers for pledge. But as we see more people coming onto the network as stake pool operators, what happens with the price of ADA is also a determining factor. But yeah, the pledge amount will probably go down over time. And I think that 150 is going to become more of an arbitrary number.
Yeah, and as we increase that K value too, I think the pledge value will come down for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, apparently Charles is live. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny. You can tell that because we went from about 85, 90 to 54 in about 10 minutes. Yeah, that's what I've always I've always worried about that, not going online the same time as the Cardano effect and Charles too. Especially Charles, he pulls in like sometimes 800 to 1,200 viewers at a time too. So there's an overlap in audience for sure.
Yes, definitely.
But we will be wrapping up here soon, so if anyone has more questions, feel free to ask them. I'll see if I missed anything good. Mike P said, doesn't it keep it more competitive this way, being 150? I don't think so. I don't think it's any more competitive. I think whatever that number would have been set to, everyone's going to try to be competitive no matter what. Because everyone wants to be in that top number. It's just, I think that number being 150 is going to directly increase pledge a lot. But as far as more competitive, I don't think so. Everyone's going to be trying. These values that we choose for fees and stuff, these are eventually going to average out because they're going to realize to be in the 150, you have to have this cost with this fee with this pledge. And you move this one up, you can move this one down a little bit. So people are going to be messing with these parameters to be in this. So a guy like me, let's say I have 500,000 pledge, which I'm probably not going to have, by the way. I can have a lower cost than a guy that has 1 million pledge that has higher cost, and I could be higher ranked than him. So it's going to take a little bit for this to all play out, but eventually the people in the top 100 pools, if you're at the bottom, if you delegate to the bottom pool at 150, the rewards you're making versus the top guy, the number one guy, is going to be a very small difference because everyone is going to fine tune these. There's 500 stake pools in the first couple weeks. These pools are going to fine tune to where it all becomes this equilibrium of what you earn in ADA. And I promise you, the next 50 pools after 200 are going to also be fine-tuned exactly to what the 150 are fine-tuned to in case they increase the number or in case one of these pools changes their value so they can move up. The rewards is going to be very similar for all these pools. Tressie says, great to be here, guys. I'm happy you're here. Richard says, guys, thanks. I'm leaving. I hope you enjoy Charles' podcast. I had a great time doing this one. Crypto Chiropractor said, what is the viability of earning anything with 100K pledge and minimum delegates? Also, K of 150 mean only 150 pools, or can 500? So that doesn't limit the pools to 150. 1 million could go live. Viability, there's a lot to that question, so I can't answer that here today. You're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Ada Northpool says, thanks for peycast. Well, thank you guys for coming. I had a great time today. Just expect to see more of these in the future. I'm sure I would love to have you on again for sure.
Absolutely. I think this was your the first episode, right?
Yeah, first episode. I've done like some AMA live streams before, kind of like doing what Charles does, because it's I just always enjoyed watching those, and I'm at a point where I have a bit of information to give out too, so I thought people would be interested in that. But yeah, this is my first actual, like, with a title, for sure.
Nice.
And it's my first time having someone else on too. So
it's going to be a great series. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to, especially if you're doing the live streams during the summit. I'll have to tune in if I'm not doing anything during.
Cool. Sure. Yeah.
But we are at 1:30. So firstly, I wanted to say thank you guys all for listening to this podcast. If you guys are watching this not live, make sure to comment peycast down below so you made it to the end. If you did, either way, I really appreciate you guys coming. I had a great time. Expect more of these in the future. I plan to iterate on these and get better with each one, whether it comes to mic quality, video quality, content, what we're actually talking about. These are going to be kind of what's going on in the Cardano community right now, and then also what's going on maybe with other things too, because this isn't mostly, it's mostly a Cardano podcast because that's what I'm very, very interested in, but I might be expanding to some other things eventually. So, but yeah, that's it. If you want to say anything to close.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much, guys. I really do appreciate it. I'm just really happy to be on here. Thanks so much, Pey, for having me. I really enjoyed just getting to chat with you, man. Just, knowing your thoughts, especially now we're moving so close to Shelly. Thanks for everybody for all the great questions. You guys are great. Keep it up. We could not be doing this without your support, and I look forward to seeing you guys at the summit.
Yeah, well, and I want to thank you for coming on, man. It was really nice of you to come on in such a short notice, and yeah, I had a lot of fun learning some more things about you. Because that's what, like I said earlier, most of your videos have been specifically about cryptocurrency. So it was nice to learn a little bit more about the man behind Kaizen Crypto. So
nice. Yeah, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Yep, but that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you all have a wonderful